Hi everyone, welcome to Working with Your Gifts. Now this is a short introduction that is going to describe what these readings are meant to illuminate for you. If you don't want to listen to it, you can skip right to the reading by clicking in the timestamp below. So for anyone who is new, welcome. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and Meaning-Based Spiritual Coaching Services. Now, what does meaning-based spiritual coaching services mean? That means that I utilize the principles of logotherapy, which is a school of psychoanalysis thought that focuses on illuminating you as an individual. What makes you different? What makes your experience of life different so that you can find your own meaning within your life. But first, you have to be aware of yourself and what makes you unique. And the second step is being able to connect that unique self with your external environment to understand where these unique parts of yourself fit into the greater collective human experience. So this reading specifically is the first baby step to getting you to become self-aware of innate gifts that are unique to you. Now, since these are general readings, these are going to focus on the broader overview of looking at your astrological sign, which is going to be in one of your three main house placements in your birth chart, which is either your sun, your moon, or your rising sign. Now, you can look at all three of these. I do recommend watching a video for each of those because each one focuses on something slightly different. So when we're looking at your sun sign. Your sun sign tends to focus more on illuminating aspects of yourself, gifts to tap into that pertain specifically to your spiritual experience. When I say spiritual, I mean more of like your grand overarching purpose, that feeling inside of you, that those innate instinctual drives to enact a vision for the world that you emotionally connect to. For your rising sign, when you look at the sign associated with your rising sign, this is more about how you are perceived by others in the world. And I've heard some say it's kind of like the role you're meant to play. So if you're looking at this as being an actor in a play, this is where you get to step onto stage and how others view you in your role. And this is an important aspect because oftentimes we're so focused on our sun sign placements that we don't realize that there's an element of how others see us, and that the sign placement that is associated with our rising sign has to do more with our physical experience of life, how others perceive us in our physical world, and how we in turn actually act and interact on a physical level with our experience. And then we have our moon sign placements. Now, moon sign placements I feel are incredibly important to be aware of because this is where we tie directly into our emotional core. It's where we actually also act kind of from a place of our instinct. It's where we act from a subconscious place. So this can be important because in understanding the unique gifts and the unique attributes to the sign that is in your moon placement, you can gain a broader understanding of where you can find emotional fulfillment and perhaps where you're blocking yourself off from emotional fulfillment. So I do find that moon sign placement can be very important. It's also where you can start to see and become aware of where you act instinctually. So when pushed by your external environment, what's your first instinct to act? Your first instinct to emotionally connect with that either event or situation or person. And so it can actually provide a lot of insight into perhaps areas where you need to grow a little bit in an emotional sense. You know, if your first instinct is always to burst into tears or to get extremely angry, that's where we can start to understand, okay, this is why we're emotionally blocked from feelings of happiness and fulfillment, because we are not expressing the gifts that lie within our kind of subconscious instinctual level of reaction, and where we've blocked ourselves off from actually growing this part of ourselves, from evolving from almost more of like a childlike blah throw a tantrum type tendency to really fine-tuning this and utilizing this emotional connection to heighten and really allow for your emotional responses to be impactful both to others and to yourself. So that's kind of an overview of what we're going to be looking at here. What we're going to be diving into in each one of these readings is to take a look at what are the key gifts for the sign. And I look at the gifts for the sign meaning you are born with a specific birth chart, which is unique to you. No other person will have the same birth chart as you. It is your fingerprint that separates you from all others. And so as part of this blueprint that you have, there are layers to this. So there's the first layer of more of a general overview of kind of what divinely you are given as your broad goal and role to fill in the greater collective. Meaning, let's have an example. Let's say you were born as a Taurus. Now, Taurus is a sign of stability. It's an earth sign. It's a fixed earth sign. So you're working with the gifts of stability. In addition to that, there's working with the gifts of creating structure, working with the gifts of working with your tangible environment. And these are things that are meant to be utilized by you in your day-to-day to not only help you feel connected to an innate part of yourself, but also to help fill a role in the greater collective experience. So not everybody is born with Taurus in one of their 3 main house placements. But if you are, then you're meant to be an example to others or to fill roles that the other signs cannot, so that you really fill in the gaps and keep the balance going between everybody and all of their unique gifts. So the more that you start to become aware of your unique gifts and you start to tap into them on a high level, then you can start to break it down and go deeper into a very personal and singular individual level, where you start to then uncover your own unique abilities and gifts that don't tie directly back to your sign placements. Instead, they tie back to you as the individual. And that's where getting a personal reading would help uncover that aspect of yourself. But we get to be aware in stages. So it isn't about when you're starting this road to uncovering who you are, so that you can start to answer fully your own I am question. And when I talk about what is the I am question, it's if somebody right now was to walk up to you and say, announce to the world, step on stage and tell people about yourself. Who are you? And you would start by stepping up and saying, I am. And how would you answer that question? Now, a lot of us might have certain things that we could, say right off the bat. I am a mother. I'm a construction worker. I am fill in the blank. But where we go a little deeper is this is here to answer the larger, deeper I am question. Who are you at your core, and what is your purpose and place in this world? And I think most of us are, at some point in our lives, we come to this existential crisis of trying to figure that out, of do I matter? Does my life hold meaning? Where do I find meaning in life for myself? And that first step is becoming self-aware. And it happens in layers. We don't just wake up one day and say, oh, I'm going to be self-aware today. It's finding a starting place that works for you that starts to unlock that connection again between yourself and your uniqueness and your external environment. So it's baby steps. As an example for this would be like you saying, okay, I realize I'm not feeling happy and emotionally fulfilled in my life. So I am going to start to utilize techniques like meditation or self-awareness practices, or just finding the time to do one thing a day that brings me some type of enjoyment, whether that's building in time to go for a walk by myself, or finding the time to reconnect with a hobby that you maybe have long since pushed to the side. Like, I'm going to start writing a little bit again every day, or I'm going to take out my paint set that I haven't utilized in 15 years and start to just doodle with it. These are the ways that we start to tap back into our connection to self. And that's where our connection to the greater collective experience starts. It starts with connecting to ourself again as a unique individual. And then from there, once we have a healthy connection to ourself and awareness of self, we can then go out into the external environment and connect that unique self with our external environment so we can start to understand where we fit in. And that's really where then we start the adventure to find meaning for ourselves. So I hope this has been illuminating and informative, and your video will start right now. Thanks, guys. Bye. Hi, Aries. Welcome to your Working with Your Gifts reading. So today we are going to take a look, Aries, at a high-level overview of what innate gifts Aries as a sign allows you to work with. And then we're going to dive a little deeper to see some of the energies that you're kind of more clarifying what and where you're and how you're being asked right now to utilize these energies in the greater collective experience so that you can start to engage with them in your external environment. Okay, Aries. So you are a sign of action. You are the first sign in the zodiac, which allows you to really harness the power of initiation. Aries, you are a fire sign. You are the cardinal fire sign. So you are meant to, in some capacity, be a leader. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to step into an actual management role or leadership role. This means that you have the ability to stand out among others in the capacity to initiate and take action. So you're here to actually be an example to others in that area. In addition to that, Aries, you are actually the sign whose motto is I am. And I think that's very appropriate when we're looking at answering the I am question. And your sign really harnesses the power of I am through doing. You are the sign that actually leads by example, that shows that as you do, as you interact, as you make the choices to take action, to engage with your external environment, you start to answer that I am question because you see yourself in contrast with the world at large and with others. Now, in understanding that and understanding that these are your superpowers, this is where, on a very basic high level, your awareness of yourself should start. That your place and purpose in the greater collective experience is meant to be a point of action. You are meant to be the initiator. You are meant to lead by example in that area. Okay, Aries, so I'm going to start to pull some cards here from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck. That's going to give us an idea of right now how or what. So more like how. how are you being asked right now to bring forward this role to fill? And how are you meant to basically be interacting with it right now? So let's see here. Let's see what my lovely Aries are meant to be working with as they show others the power of taking action and how that can help really bring about a sense of who you are. There's a drive to find self-identity for you, Aries. Okay, so we have Panther Spirit. Reclaim your power. This is perfect. So the number is 44, which is a very powerful number. That's a number of kind of divine angelic guidance. It's also a number that it breaks down to the number 8 in numerology, which is personal power. That is where we act from our sacral chakra, which is our ability to create. And that really is harnessing our true power and potential, is what can we create in this world. And for you guys, reclaiming your power means that right now what you're being asked to do is reclaim that power to initiate action. I think just instinctually when I'm seeing this right now, perhaps many of you, and I know it's been difficult with the pandemic over the past year and a half, a lot of us have had to kind of go back and we were all held back physically on a certain level. And so many of you might have had to experience what that was like in where maybe you are an action-oriented person and you weren't able to act instinctually in accordance with yourself and your gifts, where you had to stay home. You might not have been able to make that decision to go on that trip that you wanted to go on, or you couldn't take action to grow your business because everything was contracting and being held in place for a while. And that can be difficult when your external environment doesn't allow you to feel free in utilizing your gifts. But now we're coming out of that. We're opening back up into an element of freedom again, that the external environment is starting to free up. So we can't use that as an example anymore. We can't use it as an excuse anymore as to why we're not taking action. So now it's coming down to where are you possibly using other elements of your external environment as excuses to not reclaim your power from a place of you being able to make the decisions and take action towards the areas that you want to. And this can look like, when we talk about reclaiming your power, this could be where we have put ourselves in a place at work where we are constantly saying yes when we should be saying no. Sure, I'll take on that extra project, and I'll take on that project too, and I'll take on your project and that, and we've given away our power to the point where we no longer can create and take action towards things that are fulfilling to us. We become exhausted or drained. Same thing in the family environment. Perhaps you've overcommitted yourself to some aspect of your family environment that's now not allowing you to fully step into your ability to take decisive action and really lead by example as to what that can bring in for you. So I'm going to pull some clarifying cards here, Aries, to dive a little deeper. Ooh, 2 pop right out. So we have 5 of Swords and the 5 of Cups. And what's interesting with the 5s in the tarot, 5, especially numerology, really denotes change. And it denotes how we deal with change. It can also bring in an element of chaos, but with the chaos comes also the ability to build new. So that's kind of the duality of the number 5, is it can go in one direction and in the other direction. But this is really showing right here that there's this element of Five of Swords is winning at all costs, kind of fighting change, where we are willing to take a fight to the nth degree, even if it means we get hurt in the process, as long as we can see, in our eyes, stand victorious. Which that can be a very harmful way of dealing with change, where it's my way or the highway. Because ultimately what happens is we actually give power over then to the situation, or we give power over to the person, because we've actually not stood, we haven't stood strong in our own self-power. We've instead tried to assert it and push it on another, even if it takes away from us, even if it takes away from what we've created, simply just to be able to say, well, I'm standing my ground and I'm doing this. And this can happen, and where this can actually affect your ability to effectively take action for yourself, is where you are faced with a choice. Faced with a choice to change. And you don't want to do it. You stop and you say, no, I don't want to make a change. I don't want to make a change because of X, Y, and Z. And you can't make me change, and you can't make me change, and try to make it me change. It's kind of one of those things of just try it. But it's also an illusion that there are others out there who are, especially in the external, this deals specifically in the mental side to things. But so this is like a mental illusion that others or external circumstances are out there to challenge your truth. And so that to be able to stand powerfully in yourself, you have to challenge them. I have to assert my truth over their truths, because otherwise I might have to accept their truth. And in reality, that's not the truth. The truth is that we all at our core have our own truths. We're all born with our own perspective. And that's the beauty of the fact that there can be 8 billion people on this earth, but each and every one of us will see life a little differently. And that's where we get to bring in that true, unique singularity. And so this isn't about you trying to push your truth at the expense of other people's truths. This is about realizing that stepping up into your true power to reclaim it is being strong in your truth, but not feeling that need to push it on others. That when change happens, you can simply act in accordance with yourself and let others do as they will. This is where you learn that beautiful lesson of self-empowerment, of where you can take action, which is your ability is where your seat of control is taking action, making that choice yourself. You can't change somebody else. You can't push somebody else to take action. You can't force your truth on somebody else so that then they adopt your truth. Because we can't control our external environment in that way. We can't control other people. That's a hard lesson to learn. But in stepping back into your power, and what you're being asked to do right now, Aries, is to realize you can let that go. Reclaiming your power, not your power over others. Reclaiming your power to take action on your behalf and let others do as they may. Because again, what takes away from your power is trying to get others to either do your bidding, to change, to make them change instead of make yourself change. So I think this is kind of what this is saying right now, is that you guys are sitting with an environment of change and you're fighting making the choice to take action yourself to meet that change. And instead, you're trying to get your external environment or the people, in your external environment to change instead. And then we have a card of Five of Cups. And the Five of Cups is meeting change, but on an emotional level. And this is where we can be so focused on three. When we look at this card, generally the traditional view of this is somebody looking at 3 cups that have spilled. And there are still 2 standing upright full cups behind them, but they're so focused on looking at what's spilled and what's been wasted. So it's a card of regret without realizing that what you have left is just as important and fulfilling as what's been gone. And it's kind of like crying over spilled milk, right? We can't change it. That person can't go over and like scoop up the spilled liquid and put it back into the cup. It's just never going to happen. It's in the past. It's happened. And so there's this element of not wanting to deal with the change that's happening in your life, also on an emotional level. So on a mental level, you're trying to fight it by trying to find ways to manipulate others or your circumstances instead of bringing that personal power back to yourself to be able to take action, decisive action on your own. But then there's this other element of this emotional side where you are focusing on regret, that you are holding yourself back from taking action with the 2 full cups you still have available, which actually those 2 full cups represent the relationships that you have in your life. So we can look at, with regret, past emotional, and I look at, because the 3 of Cups in the tarot as its own card is a card of celebrating with others. It's a card of friendship. It's a card of feeling like you belong in that moment. And so there's this element of with the 5 of Cups, looking back at maybe a time when you felt that way with regret, maybe losing friends or losing this support system, or looking back at areas of where you were hurt, where you felt perhaps that this support system you thought you had in place, these people you thought you were celebrating with, then turn on you. And so you are hurt on an emotional level. But what you don't realize and focus on are the relationships that you have in your life now that are healthy, that you have your cup to meet their cup with and to share so much with them. So I feel like right now there's this element of, in your emotional level, dealing with change, this area of regret, of I shouldn't have invested so much time and energy into that because look where it got me. And now I'm kind of out on my own, and you're sitting with this element of, I don't really want to take action because I'm so emotionally focused on this negative part of my experience right now, instead of choosing to change your perspective on an emotional level, to turn around, look at your 2 full cups and say, wow, look at the relationships that I do have in my life. And how can I utilize those to start to move through this change, to allow me to connect? So when we're talking about emotional connection, the 2 of Cups is that emotional connection. It's emotionally connecting with others from on an equal level. That you bring your full cup and they bring their full cup. This is not a codependent relationship. This is a partnership. And this can be a partnership in romance. This can be a partnership in work. This could be even a partnership with, a friend or a family member. This is where we get to connect the best parts of ourselves on an emotionally vulnerable way with another who's doing the same. So, Aries, what I'm seeing here when we're talking about reclaiming your power, and we have the 5 of Swords and the 5 of Cups. This is about, it's time to bring the power away from regret and away from trying to control others in the situation, and bring it back to yourself to realize what you do have at your disposal, which are, you do have the ability to have strong relationships right now. And you do also have the ability to take action towards making decisions for yourself, not forcing your will on others, not trying to share your truth from a place of defensiveness. So I'm going to pull actually one more additional, I'm going to get just some more clarification cards from the tarot. I really feel that for you guys right now. Let's see here. Anything else for my lovely Aries right now to help them be able to really step into and utilize their full power of decisive decision and action taking? Oh gosh, all kinds of stuff popped out here. Okay, so we have, did I pull this deck? Oh, I did pull, sorry. Just making sure these were meant to be all upside down, and they were because I pulled the deck upside down. All right, guys, so we have the Magician, the Devil, and the Two of Swords. So right now what this shows me here is that you guys are sitting with making a decision between a temptation, what's been holding you back, the Devil, and stepping into your full power as the Magician. Now the Magician harnesses all of the energy of all signs. And it really tells to our own unique ability to take action and manifest what we would like for ourselves in our own lives. We are each the magician within our own life. But where we can forget this is by being tempted by the devil. And no, this is not the devil in context to religious connotations. This is the devil is a depiction of where we hold ourselves back willingly, where we are free to leave at any time, but where we decide to stay because it's easy, because we at one point loved this person or loved what we were doing, or at one point this brought us a false sense of security. And in reality now it's robbing us of our personal power. And so this could be not wanting to walk away from a job that provides us with security, not wanting to walk away from a boss who you've developed a strong relationship with, that now it's time that unfortunately now is limiting you in your ability to grow, to be able to take action on your own behalf. And this can be, in a romantic sense, a significant other who is holding you back from stepping into your ability to be the magician in your own life. And the Two of Swords shows me that you're having this, you know, the decision. So the Two of Swords is that card of sitting with, I don't know what to do. I can't make a choice. And in reality, that's an illusion. You do know the choice. You know, it's that belief that there are two versions of your truth, and which one is my truth? I can't make a decision because I don't know. And in reality, you do know, because you only have one truth. And at your heart of hearts, you know the decision you have to make. And that's going towards becoming the magician, which is reclaiming your power. So right now, you're being asked to step back into this, to step back into your power of being able to initiate, being able to jump into new things and take action, be able to learn about yourself through engaging with your external environment through direct experience. Because what this is going to do at this time for you is be able to help you unlock those lower level lying abilities and gifts, which are even more important for you to bring out into your external environment at this time. So first, awareness of reclaiming your power. Stepping back into being an Aries so that you can be this example. You probably have friends and family around you right now who are like, what is going on with my Aries? Why are they staying stuck? Why aren't they making these life decisions? Why aren't they going out there and doing the stuff they need to do? And it's because you're holding yourself back. You're holding yourself back from change, and you're sitting with a lot of change right now. So I think really what you're being called to ask with the energies is to realize that the change was necessary. The change was actually meant, it's how you deal with change that's meant to help reclaim your power. And most likely it's going to show you again how you can tap back into your sacral chakra and your ability to create for yourself, and remind you that you are the magician in your life. And in doing that, this is what's going to unlock the other abilities within you that you've been holding back. And it's going to help you re-engage those at the same time as you step into this energy of reclaiming your power again, of relearning how to step fully into your birthright of initiation and action taking. All right, Aries, I hope this has been helpful. If you haven't already seen your spiritual connection reading, those are up on the YouTube channel as well. I look forward to continuing to read for you. These will probably have 2 or 3 of these posted a month, just to take an energy read, kind of get the health as to where you're going with your gifts, and again, what the universe is kind of pushing you to see about yourself and your place. And then we can maybe start to dive a little deeper, if you'd like to have a personal reading, into the gifts that are unique to you, that will help you more fully engage and connect on an emotional level with your life, but also to help you start to uncover your own personal meaning. All right, bye Aries. I will see you in the next reading.